Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome back to the Nashville Stars franchise. We sit here at 60-37. That will land us right now in second place in the AL East, leading the wild card chase by a long shot, in the third best overall record in the MLB behind the Dodgers and the World Series champions a year ago in the Blue Jays. We are having a tremendous season. I think something that I, completely honest, did not see coming. I didn't see this type of season coming. I definitely thought we would be competing in the wild card. I did not think we would be this dominant. We are the third best team in the MLB right now as far as production goes. And our pitching staff is actually one of the lowest rated pitching staffs in the game right now, which is honestly awesome. That means they're overachieving, and it's not a fluke because this same thing happened last year where we had a low-rated pitching staff and they ended up being great. But offensively, I think it's the biggest surprise. We have a lot of good players that we have been developing that have now turned into something. How about Colin Ozuna? Coming off of a year where we moved him down to AAA, and then now he's back at the MLB level, not a full-time outfielder, but a platoon guy, and hitting 276, absolutely crushing the ball right now. Dom Thompson-Williams has turned into a full-time right fielder. I think middle infield is something that we haven't exactly solved. We signed Willy Adames, that's solved, but second base is still an issue, but I think Jimmy Sandoval has stepped up. Other guys that we have been developing in our organization like KFC, Kendrick Franklin Cole have kind of not panned out so far. I'm not willing to give up on them because I still think we have the bandwidth to still be able to develop these guys as the season goes on. Taylor Trammell is another one of those examples. A guy that we have been developing and has kind of done pretty well, but has kind of regressed back down to what he has been. Hit 215, has been hitting 215 this year. Last year, you can see towards the end of the year, he moved up and hit 278. He was definitely showing that promise. I thought that I could get away with using him as a full-time outfielder. I just probably can't do that. He is an excellent situational hitter. He's got 40 RBIs this year, hitting great, but I think I'm going to need to give him some days off. Pitching-wise, I highlighted earlier that our pitching staff is doing great, and Troy Quincy is definitely coming into his own now. There was a couple of years where I was like, all right, Troy Quincy, after that Rookie of the Year, what do we do now? And he's getting kind of disappointing, but now I think he's starting to come around. But the guy that really is holding down this staff is Kohei Arihara. He has been with our team since season number 2, and he has been tremendous for us. A 1.30 whip, 3.49 ERA. I mean, he is just an exciting player in our staff. He is older too. He is like the elder statesman and kind of the leader of this pitching staff. Kaprelian has been struggling, but our bullpen has not been. I think this has been really the strength of this series so far. And one guy I want to highlight here is Pablo Moya. Man, this kid is just good. 67 overall seat potential, 31 saves, 0 blown. I mean, just amazing stuff from the young kid. And then Robert Suzuki is finally coming into his own as a setup man. He has been tremendous. He was once touted as our closing pitcher. He has thrived in that setup role. In the AL, none of our pitchers, despite having a top 5 ERA, make it to the All-Star game though. Robert Suzuki was probably the closest, and he was a relief pitcher, .93. But then we get a closer here in Pablo Moya, who is by far the best closer in baseball, has yet to blow a save this year. He will make the All-Star game as a 67 overall pitcher. Can you believe it? But that's not it. Willy Adames makes it, and Rafael Devers make it. So for the first time in this series, we have more than one player make the All-Star game. Previously, we usually only had one guy, and that is mandatory that every team has to have at least one guy. But this year we had guys in the running. Dom Thompson-Williams is a guy I still want to get to the All-Star game. He's getting close, but he still cannot get there. In the NL, we do have our second subscriber player who was once drafted, who is now at the MLB level, who makes it, and that's AJ McKnight. So congratulations to him. And I think that going into this All-Star break, I'm going to be evaluating some of these All-Stars because some of these guys are on the trade block. And I think that, you know, the one position, I guess two positions that we are really looking to improve, starting pitching and corner outfield, particularly left field. Now, going into the All-Star break, I want to evaluate our young guys too. Steven Brennan is still struggling, and he's just not ready. He's just not ready. He's just 20 years old, but drafted as our first overall pick in season 1, just has not been developing the way I would hope. Damian Houston is a guy that we've been developing since season 1 too. He's actually having a good year. I would say he's probably the closest prospect to being moved up. Bryce Jarvis is a guy we acquired and has been good, but has not been in the starting role. We moved him to the bullpen at AAA, and he has kind of thrived there. Tyler Pitzer is an older prospect of ours, 27 years old. I'm going to move him up to AAA and see how he does in that starting pitching role. And if he does well, he could be a candidate to get moved up to possibly supplant Kaprelian in the rotation. So heading into the All-Star break, I am surprised that Devers does not make it and Willy Adames does not make the home run derby. I thought that they would, at least one of them, be in, especially since Devers went to the semis last year. You would think he would want a rematch, but he ends up not making it. Jared Walsh wins the home run derby, so congratulations to him. But the main thing of this episode is the All-Star game and the trade deadline, which I will highlight later in this episode. But the All-Star game looks like this. Devers gets to start at third. Willy Adames gets to start at short. Around them, the one guy I want to highlight here is Ketel Marte. He is on the trade block for the Minnesota Twins. They are in second place in the AL Central. So here is Devers' first at-bat here facing David Peterson, who is the starter for the NL here in the first inning, and Devers will wave at that one. He was the runner-up for MVP last season, as that brings up Willy Adames, who has came on to Nashville and really has given us a whole lot of life in this lineup, but he does ground out into the double play right there. Can't really talk. As Rafael Devers comes to the plate here for his second at-bat, he gets enough wood on this one, and this is what Devers does. Pitches outside the zone on the corners. He just finds a way to hit the ball hard into spots where the defense isn't. As that brings up Willy Adames here for his second at-bat, now facing Trevor Bauer, who gets him to swing and miss at a cutter on the outside corner of the plate. Chris Bryant comes to the plate now in the sixth inning for the NL, as that brings in Pablo Moya, first-time All-Star and amazing closer here for Nashville this year. He's going to face some really big bats in this game as the first batter he faces is Bryant. And look at this play by his teammate Rafael Devers. You got to love it. Devers picking up his man on the mound, and what a great play. Hopefully he makes those plays when it comes to our season as well. Good, strong throw, as he has a really good arm at third also. Moya settles down and does get the next batter to swing and miss at an outside slider, and I just love Pablo Moya. Now, remember back in season 1, he was actually our minor league pitcher of the year as a relief man. He dominated. In short order, he got moved up to the MLB level, and he has not moved away from like 67 overall. He was 164. He's going up to 67 in 3 seasons now. He has not even progressed, but he is still dominating. It is just amazing to see, to be quite honest with you. I want to check out the AAA All-Star game in particular. We won't cover the AA level, but Simeon Woods Richardson is the number 1 prospect in baseball. He gets the start for our side of the All-Star break for the AAA East All-Stars. But Tyler Black makes it. Now, Tyler Black was a player we acquired at the deadline last year from the Milwaukee Brewers, and now he is here at the All-Star game, hitting .294 this year. His first AB of this game is going to be a single up the middle. Just remember the name Tyler Black. He's going to be a guy that I'm going to be moving up pretty soon, because I think that right now I believe I'm either going to move down John Dumont again or Shea Whitcomb. I'm not really sure which one, But Tyler Black is a good player. He's got good defense, and he's not going to play shortstop for us in the future, but you never know. He could platoon at second with Jimmy Sandoval, as we do get the loss here for our AAA East All-Stars, 3-4. Both teams went 12 and 11 hits respectively. So now we're fresh off of the All-Star break. The trade deadline is at the end of the month in a couple of weeks. And I want to go back and evaluate an old trade of ours. We will face Chris Paddack in this episode. He plays for the White Sox now. He was a part of that 3-team trade which sent Kurt Zambrano to Nashville from the White Sox. And Chris Paddack ended up going to the White Sox here. And who is really winning that trade right now? Well, got to be honest, objectively, it's the White Sox. They have Chris Paddack, who has since moved on, now is dominant for the White Sox. 108 whip to 101 whip this year, a 2.71 ERA a season ago. He is dominating for the first place Chicago White Sox in the Central. So we will get to face him for the first time in another uniform in this series. And I want to kind of get Zambrano a chance to play against his former organization as well. Paddack is 8-5 so far this year, a 3.25 ERA. He faces a very tough Nashville lineup who has just been on fire. Willy Adames leads off this game, an inside changeup, and that one will be fouled down the left field line, bringing it to a 3-2 count here. The sixth pitch of the game will be blown by Adames. He was probably expecting some off speed right there. Bringing up Kerry Doss to the plate, hitting 291. He hits a chopper up the middle. This one gets past Paddack, and a good play, but a good runner in Kerry Doss as a first baseman with 51 speed will get to first. As now we have a man on first base bringing up Devers, who is one of the best hitters in baseball right now, but a swing and miss at that circle change fooled us inside. And now that brings up Dom Thompson-Williams, who moves up in the lineup. He's been hitting at that number 5 spot, but number 4 now after the All-Star break. And that one will be a swing and miss. The first place Chicago White Sox are led by Max Clark, who is now their leadoff hitter, and Andrew Benintendi and Pete Alonso right in the middle of their lineup. Here is Max Clark, who is one of the top prospects in prep baseball heading into this season. He's probably going to be drafted as a top 3 player in real life. As that brings up the next batter, Cole Tucker, who hits one down the right field line. That one will be fair as Dom Thompson-Williams comes up throwing. He's got a good arm, but not in time here to stop Cole Tucker from getting in safe into second base. Andrew Benintendi, who leads them in average, comes up to the plate this year, or this at-bat, facing Jack Leiter, a ground ball to short. And Adames with a 99 arm will make the throw, but it will be offline. But take a look at the play by Kerry Doss. Has the awareness to reach out his glove and tag the runner. And that's just good baseball from Kerry Doss right there. Sometimes it's the little things. Pete Alonso to the plate now, hitting 264 for the White Sox. Will hit a ground ball to Jimmy. And an easy ground ball throw to first base will get him out. As we move on to the third inning, this is Rafael Devers at the plate here for his second at-bat with a man on first base, the meat of our order up. And that one will be a walk here for Devers. So now 2 outs in this third inning, bringing up Dom Thompson-Williams. 10 homers this year and hitting pretty well. 3-2 pitch, and that one is crushed down the right field line. It's going to be gone. Dom Thompson-Williams has been one of the fan favorites, and quite honestly, one of my favorites, because this was a guy that I have been watching an MLB show for about 3 years now, and I've been like, man, I need to get him in one of my series. I decide to make it this one, and he has not disappointed. A 4-0 game versus our former ace, as that brings up Colin Ozuna, who hits one well to left center. One of those guys that has just surprised us in this series. Just remember, back in season number 1, I haven't done this in a couple of years, but he was a minor league decliner, meaning he was one of those guys that came in and hit terribly in the minors, so I decreased his potential, and he has done nothing but work hard since. That brings up Buddha Bless, who hits one well to center field, but Max Clark with excellent speed out in center field covers a lot of ground, but it's a 4-0 game at that point. We move on to the 7th inning. Here is Kurt Zambrano back at the plate to face his former organization here. Maybe a little jitters playing against the team that drafted him, and a 2-2 pitch will be low and hit hard up the middle. That will get through. It will score one. The throw home by Max Clark. What an excellent gun. And that one will get the runner Buddha Bless, who was trying to stretch this to a 10-1 game at that point. But that ends up being enough to beat the White Sox. 9-4 in this one. We give our former pitcher a taste of some Nashville now. And now we move on with another victory past the trade deadline. And now we start to make some organizational moves. We're heading towards the trade deadline, and I want to start making some moves that will push us towards the playoffs. Also will give us flexibility on our playoff roster. Shea Wickham has been disappointing. I can't say anything else but that. And once I traded for him back going into season number 2, I thought he was going to be a guy that was going to contribute and hopefully be the future at shortstop, but that has not happened. We ended up signing Willy Adames and kind of taking over that shortstop role for us and that leader in the middle infield. And I think that Tyler Black is going to get an opportunity now towards the end of the month and probably for the rest of the year. We end up sweeping the White Sox in a 3-game set, then losing 3 of 4 from the Yankees. We end up beating Kansas City 2 of 3 games as Kaprelian got the win in this one. I guess that's a welcome sighting because he has just been struggling so far this year. And even in this game, he struggled. He gave up 8 hits in only 6 innings pitched, struck out 6, gave up 3 earned runs, but good thing our offense had his back covered. That really pushes me to make a move here. And I look at the trade block, and there's a lot of guys that are here that are unrealistic that I will not deal for, like Max Clark. He's 22 years old with an excellent potential and excellent future. I mean, the guy is just amazing. So I'm definitely not going to be trading for him. Jared Kelenic is also there. I'm a little curious on why they would get rid of him. He's got 24 home runs at the All-Star break. I mean, that is incredible power. Sonny Gray is 35 years old, but look at the numbers. He was a guy that I was potentially going to try to deal for. Then there's Lance Lynn, who is interesting, $6.4 million. We'd have to pay about half of that since we're halfway through the season. 1.27 whip. This is a guy that just performs well in MLB The Show. You can just see his numbers the last couple of years. But realistically, the Marlins are 59-49. They probably would not move on from Lance Lynn based on them competing in the division and trying to get to the playoffs. But I look at 2 NL teams who are not competing, and that is the Giants and the Diamondbacks. They are definitely looking for a rebuild. They are the 30th ranked team overall ranking and 28th respectively in the MLB. And I think that they could use a couple of prospects in exchange for possibly one of their starting pitchers. The first of 3 guys is Madison Bumgarner. He is going to be a free agent at age 35. He is over the hill, but he is still very, very capable. Now remember, he is one of the most dominant playoff pitchers probably in MLB history. I've never seen a pitcher pitch like him in the playoffs. I mean, it's just like lights out. I don't know what gets into him, but all of a sudden he turns into like one of the best pitchers of all time. And I think he is one of the best playoff pitchers of all time. Zach Gallen is also available, but he will probably come at a higher price because he is younger. He is a lot higher in overall, and he's 29 years old. The third pitcher I am considering is Logan Webb, but just like Zach Gallen, he is 28, 29, and he will be expensive, and he is pitching very well, but he's going to demand a lot of money on the open market. I don't want to give up too much, so I do look at other options. There's a interesting pitcher here, Ryan Murdoch, and the reason why I can't lie, looked at him a little closer was that mustache. I mean, look at that thing. That is just all over the place. He's 24 years old, but definitely probably not what I'm looking for. He's not as dominant as what I would like. I don't think he would help us much. So I decide to focus my attention on Madison Bumgarner. It just seems like the most logical trade here. And he is a guy that is older, so it won't take too much to get him. I think some prospects that they need. They need relief pitching. So I look at a guy like Russell Bell, who's in his mid-20s. He will still develop a little bit. He's a guy that I don't really care about. But I will need a guy to put this trade over the top. And I think Bryce Jarvis is that guy. he's actually pitching excellently at AAA, and he could be a relief pitcher. So I decide to throw him in. He has B potential, and he does put this trade over the top. Madison Bumgarner is a guy that I think that can contribute to our playoff success and our playoff run. So he is proven. We will make this deal for Madison Bumgarner, and we trade 2 prospects that we're not really too concerned with moving on from. Bumgarner will take the place of James Kaprielian in the starting rotation. Kaprielian will move to the bullpen to be more of a long reliever. I don't feel like he needs to get moved down or anything like that. I still like him as an option, especially as a long reliever. And I think that he could possibly thrive in that role. He's probably not happy with it, but we'll see how that all plays out with Kaprielian's career in Nashville. I decide to move down Jesus Aguilar, the veteran, 216 average though. What value does he have if he is not going to be an everyday hitter? None really, because he can't run. And if he's not starting, then coming off the bench, I mean, that's pretty much all he can do is just pinch hit, and then we'll have to go in and pinch run for him. So I think that right now we're going to move him down and then go ahead and have a more established bullpen, moving, Madison Bumgarner to the rotation and then moving Kaprielian to the bullpen. So next couple of episodes, we make our run at the playoffs, and we will start next episode with the debut of Madison Bumgarner with Nashville. I think he fits the rotation. Let me know what you guys think of that trade. I think it's an excellent trade we just made, and hopefully he pushes us towards the playoffs and continuing to win games here for a 68-43 Nashville Stars. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.